my close friends and family celebrating my daughter's college graduation. My husband of 28 years raised his champagne glass, not to toast Amelia's achievement, but to announce the end of our marriage. The room froze. Utensils stopped midair, half-spoken sentences died on lips, and 50 pairs of eyes darted from him to me, bracing for fireworks, sobbing, screaming, a dramatic meltdown. Instead, I smiled. Thank you for your honesty. Let me introduce myself properly. My name is Bianca Caldwell. I'm 54 years old. And until this moment, I had mastered the role of loyal wife and devoted mother. Picture perfect, right? I had shelved my dreams to support Gregory, through 3 failed business ventures, 2 midlife career reinventions, and endless phases of self-discovery. I held the fort while raising our brilliant daughter Amelia, who now sat beside me in stunned silence, graduation cap still cocked on her head like a crown frozen in time. From the corner of my eye, I spotted her, Cassandra Wells. Younger, nervous, sitting in the back with people I once considered lifelong friends. Friends who knew. Friends who smiled in my face and clinked glasses at our holiday parties while knowing my husband was screwing around with a woman half his age. Cassandra, who once called me for career advice, now squirmed in her seat, avoiding my gaze. With deliberate calm, I reached into my handbag and pulled out a cream-colored envelope, sealed, heavy, inevitable. I placed it neatly next to Gregory's plate. "What's this?" he asked, confidence draining from his face. "Something for later," I replied evenly. Then I turned to Amelia, kissed her cheek, and whispered, "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. This day is still yours." I stood, smoothed my dress, and addressed the room of gaping mouths and wide eyes. "Please, enjoy the meal. And have a lovely afternoon." Then I walked out, head high, spine straight. 50 people watched me go. The door closed behind me with the finality of a judge's gavel. Outside, the Georgia heat hit like a furnace, but for the first time in years, I could breathe. Behind me, the door slammed open. "Bianca, what the hell is this? What have you done?" Gregory's voice, no longer confident, now shrill with panic. I didn't stop. I didn't flinch. The envelope? It contained the beginning of a reckoning I had planned for months. My quiet revenge. You see, I've always been the grounded one. While Gregory chased pipe dreams, I built a life. When he threw money at a friend's doomed restaurant, I quietly saved for Amelia's education. When he ditched his stable job to sell artisan furniture, I took extra shifts as a finance manager at Truvanta Corp. My dream of launching a financial consultancy for women? Always pushed aside, for later. After Amelia's graduation, after Gregory figured things out. 3 months ago, I noticed discrepancies in our joint accounts. Small withdrawals, strange transfers. After 2 decades of managing our finances, I spotted the red flags instantly. I could have confronted him then. But something told me to wait. Instead, I investigated, quietly. What I found was worse than I imagined. Gregory had been funneling money into a secret account for over a year. Dinners, jewelry, beach property tours, with Cassandra. Meanwhile, he told me we had to tighten our belts for retirement. Then came the texts, left carelessly on his unlocked phone. Love notes, vacation plans, jokes about finally breaking free. And the kicker? They had timed everything to coincide with Amelia's graduation. A clean break for him. A fresh start, with her. What Gregory underestimated was me. I've been a financial strategist for 30 years. I know how to follow money. And I remembered the prenuptial agreement we signed nearly 3 decades ago, when I had more family wealth than he did. His idea, ironically, to protect his assets. It contained a fidelity clause. His undoing. While Gregory was dreaming about beachfront sunsets with Cassandra, I was documenting every transfer. Every dinner bill, every lie. I hired a lawyer, built a case, had divorce papers drafted and filed, ready to be served. Gregory thought he was playing chess. He didn't know I'd already checkmated him. I didn't go back to the restaurant. I drove straight to our home, a classic colonial we bought 15 years ago in Augusta's historic district. The same house Gregory had promised to Cassandra in texts he didn't know I'd read. I pulled into the driveway, stepped into the familiar scent of hardwood floors and lavender candles, and stood in the stillness of what used to be our life. Nothing looked different. Family portraits lined the walls. My father's old grandfather clock ticked in the foyer. The leather couch where we once mapped out our future still sagged in its usual corner. But everything had changed. I went upstairs to our bedroom. Opened the closet. There it was, Gregory's luggage, neatly packed. Hidden in the back. Ready for tomorrow. Predictable. He was always careful with his clothes. Careless with everything else. My phone vibrated nonstop, messages from friends, from Amelia, from Gregory's sister Diana. I replied to one person only. To my daughter. I'm okay. This isn't your burden. Enjoy today. We'll talk tonight. I love you. I'd shielded her from the ugly truth. Let her finish her final semester in peace. She'd be angry I didn't tell her. But she'd understand. Eventually. She had my sense. And unfortunately, some of her father's charm. A dangerous but effective mix that helped her graduate with honors. 3 hours later, I heard Gregory's car screech into the driveway. The front door slammed open. Bianca, he yelled, his voice echoing off the walls. Where are you? I sat in the living room. Calm. Laptop open. Documents in front of me. Waiting. I closed my laptop as Gregory stormed into the room, his face flushed with fury and the envelope gripped tightly in his hand like it was burning him. What the hell is this, Bianca? He barked, waving the documents like a white flag stained with betrayal. You served me divorce papers today? Of all days? I looked up, calm and composed. I thought it aligned perfectly with your timeline, I said. You wanted to start your new life, remember? I'm just helping ease the transition. You had no right. I had every right, I interrupted, my voice level. Just like you had every right to choose Cassandra. We all make choices, Gregory. His smirk returned as quickly as it had vanished. The prenup expired years ago, he said smugly. Any decent lawyer will tell you that. I allowed myself the smallest smile. Actually, it didn't. Section 12. Do you remember that part? Clearly states that the fidelity clause stays in effect for the duration of the marriage. Your lawyer should have caught that. Oh, wait, you didn't consult one, did you? The color drained from his face. The very prenup he had insisted on to protect his assets when we married, back when I had more family money, was now the trapdoor beneath him. The house. The vacation property in Savannah. His share of our retirement savings. Gone. His dramatic restaurant stunt had just become the most expensive speech of his life. You can't do this to me, he mumbled, collapsing onto the couch like a puppet with cut strings. We built this life together, I said quietly. And you decided to end it, not me. Just not the way you imagined. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced at the screen, then dismissed it. Cassandra, no doubt wondering why he hadn't followed through with their escape plan. You've always been calculating, Bianca. But this is ice cold, he tried, switching tactics. What about everything we've been through? 28 years of marriage, does that mean nothing to you? I studied him for a long moment. This man I had loved for nearly 3 decades. The man who held me through 2 miscarriages. Who surprised me with a weekend trip to Charleston for our 10th anniversary. Had he changed? Or had he always been this man, and I just refused to see it? Our history meant everything to me, I answered softly. That's what made your betrayal so devastating. He saw a flicker of vulnerability and leaned in. Then maybe we can fix this. I messed up. People mess up. This wasn't a mistake, Gregory, I said firmly. It was a calculated decision. You moved our money. You looked at property with her. You planned a public humiliation. He scoffed. You're exaggerating. I picked up my phone, tapped the screen, and played a recording. Gregory's voice filled the room. After the graduation, I'll tell her it's over. A public setting is better. She won't make a scene in front of everyone. Then Cassandra's voice, and she has no idea about the money. Gregory again. None. Bianca trusts me completely. That's her weakness. His face turned gray. You recorded our conversations? That's illegal. Not in Georgia, I replied evenly. One-party consent. And it was in our own home. I didn't record your private moments, I'm not cruel. Just the ones where you plotted to rob me. He stood up, unsteady. I need to make some calls. Your attorney might be a good place to start, I suggested. I'll be staying at Diana's tonight. He froze. Diana's? My sister? I nodded. She's not thrilled with you, by the way. She saw you and Cassandra at Christmas. You promised her it was nothing and that you'd end it. When she realized you lied, she came to me. His knees buckled slightly at that. Another betrayal he hadn't seen coming. Everyone's turning on me, he muttered. Ironic, isn't it? I said, picking up my overnight bag. You have until tomorrow night to collect your things. After that, the locks change. I made my way to the door. What about Amelia? He called out, desperation creeping into his tone. Have you even thought about how this affects her? I stopped in my tracks. The rage I'd kept carefully buried flared. Don't you dare use our daughter as a shield, Gregory. You weren't thinking about her when you were laying out your beachfront fantasy with Cassandra. His phone buzzed again. He checked it, then groaned. Problem? I asked, turning back. Cassandra's already at the apartment. She moved her stuff in. I smiled. The apartment under both your names? The one you applied for last month? He nodded, confused. You might want to call the leasing office, I said. That application was flagged for credit issues. The agent called our home line to verify some details. I handled it. I walked out, leaving Gregory alone with the reality he had never prepared for. His perfectly curated new life was unraveling faster than he could react. Diana lived in a cozy bungalow near the university where she taught literature. When I arrived, she pulled me into a hug before I'd even set my bag down. I just heard from Amelia, she said. Are you okay? Better than expected, I replied. We moved to the kitchen, where she poured 2 glasses of wine already breathing on the counter. I can't believe he did it like that, Diana said. In a restaurant. In front of everyone. He wanted to humiliate me publicly so I couldn't react, I explained. Her jaw clenched. My brother's always been theatrical, but this is next level. Later, in her sunroom filled with plants and books, she asked, what was in the envelope that rattled him so badly? I told her. The divorce petition, the financial records, and, of course, the prenup. Diana chuckled darkly. I remember when he insisted on that prenup. Dad had just given him seed money for his first venture, and he was so paranoid. She sipped her wine. Oh, the irony. My phone buzzed again. It was Amelia. Mom? Her voice was raw. I'm coming to Aunt Diana's. You don't have to. I'm already on my way, she interrupted. Dad's telling everyone you've lost your mind. That you've been plotting this. He's saying awful things. Of course he was. Gregory always played the victim. Let him talk, I said. The truth will come out. 20 minutes later, Amelia arrived, still in her graduation dress, makeup streaked with tears. She collapsed into my arms like she used to after childhood nightmares. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. I didn't want to ruin your senior year, I said. You deserved this day. Well, Dad did a fine job ruining it anyway, she muttered. We sat in the living room, and I told her everything, about the affair, the finances, the plan. I knew something was off, she admitted. He's been distant, always on his phone, but I never thought. No one wants to see the truth in someone they love, Diana said gently. Then, my phone buzzed again. A message from Philip Anderson, my attorney. The emergency filing had been approved. The accounts I had flagged were officially frozen, pending our divorce proceedings. Gregory now had access to just enough cash for basic living expenses, but not nearly enough to fund the lavish property deals he and Cassandra had been plotting. I shared the news with Diana and Amelia. Good, Amelia said coldly. He had it coming. Her loyalty touched me, but I stayed grounded. He's still your father, I reminded her gently. What's happening between us doesn't have to change your relationship with him. Amelia shook her head. Maybe one day, but right now, I can't even look at him. He hugged me this morning and said he was proud of me, while knowing he was about to blow our family to pieces. The doorbell rang, cutting our conversation short. Diana answered, returning moments later with a frown. It's Gregory, she said. And he brought company. I braced myself. Diana stepped aside, revealing Gregory, and Cassandra, standing awkwardly in the doorway. Cassandra's eyes darted around nervously, her posture stiff. She was 37, not quite a trophy wife, but still 17 years younger than me. Shoulder-length blonde hair, that smug confidence people wear when life hasn't knocked them down, yet. Gregory, on the other hand, looked furious. His earlier desperation had curdled into outrage. Bianca, this has gone far enough, he snapped. Unfreeze the accounts. We can handle this like adults. Before I could answer, Amelia stood up, putting herself protectively between us. Maybe you should have acted like an adult before dropping a bomb on us at my graduation party, she shot back. Gregory's eyes widened, as if noticing her for the first time. Amelia, this doesn't concern you. Oh, it doesn't, she scoffed. You shattered our family on one of the most important days of my life, and it doesn't concern me? Cassandra touched Gregory's arm. Greg, maybe we should go. He brushed her hand away. No, not until Bianca starts being reasonable. Diana folded her arms. Funny, you're the only one in this room acting irrational. I sat quietly, watching the chaos unfold. I'd spent years as the family mediator, keeping the peace, smoothing the cracks, absorbing the storms. But that job had worn me down. I had finally retired from it. The accounts will remain frozen until the preliminary hearing, I said calmly. That's in 3 days. The judge will decide the next step. 3 days? Gregory sputtered. And what am I supposed to do until then? You have your personal account, I reminded him. The one you've been quietly funding for over a year. That should tide you over. Cassandra's head whipped toward him. You have a secret account? With how much in it? The cracks in their relationship were forming faster than I expected. Clearly, he hadn't been honest with her either. Gregory ignored her. This is spiteful, Bianca. This isn't who you are. Maybe you never really knew me, I replied. Just like I clearly didn't know you. Amelia turned to Cassandra. Did you know he was going to humiliate us like that at my party? Cassandra looked ashamed. I thought he was going to talk to your mom privately. I didn't expect a public scene. Gregory glared at her, betrayed. Their united front was crumbling by the second. I think it's time you both leave, Diana said, her voice steely. You've done enough damage for one day. Gregory looked at Amelia, his tone softening. Sweetheart, people change. Sometimes couples grow apart. Amelia's expression hardened. What I understand is you're a coward who couldn't even have a private conversation with mom. What I understand is I was working 2 jobs to pay for college textbooks because you said money was tight, while you were draining our family account. Gregory's mouth opened, but she cut him off. Please leave, Dad. I can't look at you right now. The silence was suffocating. Finally, he turned and left, Cassandra trailing behind. At the door, he looked back. This isn't over, Bianca. I'll fight you. I met his gaze. You're welcome to try. After they left, Amelia collapsed beside me on the couch, tears rolling down her cheeks. I've never spoken to Dad like that before. I held her close. Standing up for what's right isn't easy, sweetheart. But it matters. Diana handed us fresh glasses of wine. To new beginnings, she said, raising her glass. Indeed, I thought. This wasn't an ending. It was the start of something much stronger. He had always been a master of smoke and mirrors. But while Gregory clung to illusions, I was building something real. Thanks to the financial nest egg I'd quietly grown outside our joint accounts, I had a freedom he never saw coming. I leased a small office space downtown, nothing fancy, but mine. And there, I began shaping the vision I'd shelved for far too long, a financial consultancy for women navigating life-altering transitions. My first clients were 2 women in the throes of divorce. They told their friends. Soon, I had a steady stream of women, some recently widowed, others starting over after years in the shadow of someone else. I helped them make sense of bank statements and balance sheets, yes, but more than that, I helped them find their footing. This feels like what I was meant to do, I told Amelia during one of our weekly calls. She had just started a new job in Charleston, but always made time to check in. I'm so proud of you, Mom, she said. You're helping people through the hardest chapters of their lives. I smiled. I'm just doing what I wish someone had done for me. Preparing them for whatever comes next. For the first time, I was valued for my mind, not my emotional labor. It was a shift that changed everything. The final divorce hearing fell on what would have been our 29th anniversary. Poetic, in its own way. Gregory showed up looking like life had finally caught up to him. I'd later learn that without my financial insight, his business was tanking, and Cassandra? Long gone. Rumor had it she was dating a real estate developer in Savannah. The friends who once praised Gregory's charm had vanished too, especially after learning the truth. The judge honored every word of our prenup. Gregory walked away with his personal belongings, a crumbling business, and whatever was left in his secret account, most of which had gone to his lawyer. I kept the house, my retirement savings, and 70% of our joint investments. Infidelity has consequences, after all. The irony? Gregory had insisted on that prenup to protect himself. In the end, it became the very thing that destroyed him. As we walked out of the courtroom, he stopped me. I made a terrible mistake, he said quietly. Is there any chance we could? No, I said, gentle but unwavering. That door's closed. He nodded slowly. I understand. I hope you find happiness, Bianca. You deserve it. And for the first time in years, I believed he meant it. 6 months later, my business, Caldwell Financial Transitions, was thriving. I'd moved into a bigger office and brought on 2 associates. We specialized in helping women reclaim their power, financially and emotionally. Amelia came to visit often. During one visit, she laughed. You know what's wild? If Dad had just been honest from the beginning, he might have kept half. Sometimes people are too blinded by what they want in the moment, I said. The woman who once introduced herself as Gregory's wife or Amelia's mom had evolved. Now, I was a mentor. A business owner. A guide. That envelope I had handed Gregory in the restaurant months ago? It wasn't just an escape plan. It was the key to a door I never knew existed. Behind it, I found not just revenge, but reinvention. In reclaiming my finances, I had recovered something even more valuable, myself.